The Persian Gulf is no stranger to conflict, and the Strait of Hormuz has become a critical flashpoint. With the collapse of Imperial Iran, a new regime has risen, intent on asserting its dominance and undermining its regional enemy, Iraq. This narrow passageway, through which a significant portion of the world's oil supply flows, has become a stage for dangerous confrontation that sees innocent lives and property put at risk. The belligerent forces are keen on harassing and disrupting maritime traffic, with the aim to destabilize the region and leverage their control over their opponent. Against this backdrop, your task force under the banner of the United States Navy is entrusted with a high-stakes mission to conduct a freedom of passage operation. The primary objective is to escort civilian supertankers through the strait, ensuring their safe transit amidst the looming threat of hostilities. As commander, you must navigate the complexities of this volatile environment, prepared for any aggressive maneuvers from any belligerent navy. In order to achieve our primary objective, we have a few steps that must be taken, the first of which is preparation. We must familiarize ourselves with the specifics of the Iranian Navy, including their capabilities and tactics. This includes understanding their fleet composition, missile systems, and potential for asymmetric warfare. An enemy that has time to prepare and is in its home waters can be quite a threat. The second step is we must provide a protective escort for the civilian supertankers, ensuring their safe passage through the strait, no casualties whatsoever. We must be prepared to respond to any hostile action with appropriate defensive measures, including the use of anti-missile systems, electronic warfare, and if necessary, direct engagement. And finally, coordination. Maintain constant communication with civilian vessels and other units within the task force. Coordination and situational awareness will be the key to success in our mission. Our rules of engagement are to engage only if fired upon or if it is perceived as an imminent threat to the civilian vessels. Our threat report. It is assessed as highly likely that the Iranian Navy surface units from Bandar Abbas will be deployed in the Strait of Hormuz. Units likely to be representative of the Iranian Navy and their guard guys expect significant numbers of fast attack craft with limited support from large patrol vessels. It is assessed as likely that airborne support will be available from both fixed and rotary wing assets, and it is assessed as likely that a limited number of air-launched anti-ship missiles may be available to air units. That is deadly. We must keep that in mind. Submarines are not anticipated to be a threat. It is assessed as highly likely that they will attempt to procure midget submarines, but assessed as highly unlikely that they are able to deploy them at this time. So the key things here we need to take note of from the briefing is fast attack craft, which means fast ships or boats fitted with heavy-hitting weapons. They're not necessarily survivable, but they can take down large ships with minimal effort if you allow them. Also, we do have the threat of airborne anti-ship missiles, which would probably be the Exocet, and you don't want to mess with an Exocet. Rightio, let's get into the mission. I'm Commander Tyrael. If you're enjoying the content so far, hit like, subscribe, do all that stuff. We're minimizing the fancy stuff this time and just jumping straight into the operation. Now, I have seen online that a lot of people have televised this particular mission. I haven't actually watched any Sea Power content myself. I prefer to stay unbiased, but I have chosen to do this mission on hard because I feel like I'm up to the task of a hard mission through the Strait of Hormuz. We have the Belknap, we have a Spruance, and we have a Perry. Pretty capable task force. It looks like we have 3 civilian supertankers, which we'll have to keep afloat. The first order of action will be to launch all of our helicopters. We have access to, it looks to be 5 helis. 4 helis. 2 on the Spruance, 2 on the Perry, and the Belknap gets one, so 5. For now, we will stay in line astern formation. Just keep everyone on the track that they've been plotted. We're going to send out the choppers here to see if we can't spot anything on the surface. We will use our choppers as radar pickets, and I will also attempt to put up a line of sonobuoys so that we can If we detect anything, we can then use the sonar buoys to correlate what the track is. So if you have more points of information, we can identify those targets much quicker. It's going to take a few minutes for our helis to prepare. Now, it might get annoying, but I'm going to explain every single thing that I do, assuming that people are new to this type of game or new to naval operations. If it annoys the hell out of you, let me know in the comments and I'll just dial it down and play. Keep the choppers low. We'll send them out about 5 nautical miles each side of the column. Once we have our third chopper up, we will send that one further north. Now we're expecting to sail into a hostile zone. So we want to minimize our signature as much as possible. We want to find the enemy first. Based on what the Iranian Navy have, we have sensor superiority. Unless they have sophisticated land-based radar. The Boghammers have nothing but navigation radars. The Alvand has a fairly decent sensor suite. But mostly we have sensor superiority. I'm going to split out the column. Have the gallery on the right, the Foster on the left. And we'll keep our transports nice and close to this screen. Setting this formation because I'm expecting people to come from the north, so we want our strength of firepower to be facing the enemy. Now we're taking advantage of radar horizon here, so I'm pretty sure that our helicopters will not be detected until they ascend. But similarly, their radars will not be effective unless we get some altitude. Now that they're nice and wide of the formation, I feel a bit safer to elevate them. But we will get some more separation from our fleet. Keeping the fleet's sensors dark until we absolutely need them. There's no telling what the Iranians will have. We know what they can field, but we're not sure of the numbers deployed. The surface search radar has 139 nautical mile range, but we need elevation to take advantage of that range. We'll keep this guy nice and low. He's going to start dropping our sonobuoy lines. So the goal here is to use the sonobuoys to listen for ships, the helicopters to use their radars to detect ships, and for our fleet to use their ESM to detect emissions. With those 3 points of information, we should be able to identify anything fairly quickly. We have got some altitude. No doubt we would show up on an air search radar now. We have our radars on the choppers, so they would be sending out emissions. If any of the Iranian ships have ESM, they may be detecting our choppers right now. So we're just putting the radar on for a short moment, burst of energy to see what's out there. We have detected a target, track 7001. And it's not friendly, that's for sure. Let's have a look at the information. So based on the information that we have, which is the radar cross-section at the moment, that's highlighted in green, our best estimates are that it's either two types of merchant ship, a Blackwood, an Alvand, or a Banda. And those bottom 3 are 3 types of Iranian ships. So we have a fairly good chance of this being a hostile. It is traveling at 16 knots on a course of 130. The balance of probabilities say that that is a hostile. Now, if we can get another point of information, we will be able to really narrow down what that is. So at the moment, our confidence in our identification is starting to go up as we carefully scan that radar cross-section. We have dropped a sonobuoy, and we have picked up noise contacts further to the northwest. We're going to mark those. so we don't lose track of them. Keeping the choppers still could be very dangerous. There could be a SAM coming for them. They don't think they have a radar warning receiver. So we're going to creep forward. So out of the 3 ships, enemy ships that it could be, the Blackwood, the Alvand, or the other one, what was it? The Bayandor. Only the Alvand has somewhat decent AA, and it has the Sea-Cat missile. So as long as we stay out of a short-range bubble away from that ship, if it is the Alvand, we will be safe. We have another contact appearing here, another noise signature, 7004. Based on the sound, we are thinking they are either fishing boats, trawlers, or sampans. So they could very well be civilian boats. So for now, we will leave them alone. They are in a formation, which is suspicious. And track 7001 is heading towards our location. Going to keep dropping sonobuoys, so that way we can triangulate the noise and get better positioning data. Now the sonobuoys, I think, have fairly large range, and this is a very small strait, comparatively. But we're just going to dump them everywhere anyway. Now, and also, our choppers don't yet have range, but I have a feeling that that is because there are placeholder values. So I'm being pretty laxy-daisy with my choppers because they've got unlimited fuel for the moment. I do hope that changes before release. We've got an extra point of information on 7001. We have visual as well as radar now. Going to plot his course. A few more points of information and we should have a true bearing for this ship, as well as a true identification. We've marked her as hostile because it's most likely that she is. We are on weapons hold and weapons tight, so we won't fire on them unless they fire at us. Now there's a very strong possibility that this ship has not even yet detected us, and we have confirmation of an Alvan of Iran. So, very close. They have their radars active, and not just the navigation ones. That could be seen as hostile intent. We can't hit them with the SM2s from that range, unfortunately. That would have been funny. We will use harpoons. I've paused the game so that I can give the orders so that everybody fires their missiles at the same time. It's the only way that you can have a simultaneous firing. We're going to mark the ship next to it hostile, but let's have a look. So it could be a trawler, a Type 148, or 3 types of Israeli boats. And I don't think it's going to be the Israelis near Iran. But I have been known to make mistakes like that before. Harpoons are out. 2 on the Alvand, 1 on the unidentified signature. I'm going to take the fact that they are in formation, traveling at roughly the same speed. 1 is a confirmed hostile. We have emissions detected. We have F5E scrambled. And they have their radars active. That's why we can see that yellow ring. That is indication that we are detecting emissions from that general vicinity. So we're going to prepare the SAMs. They're scrambling fighters. Coming at us at 500 to 600 knots. Keep dropping the sonobuoys while we're at here. We need to keep an eye on our helis, keep them alive. just under 10,000 feet. He's got his burners on. We have a fourth contact detected. At this stage, we can only hear them. Faint noise. Draw a line here so we can see their course. It's good to visualize it. I like to visualize the course. Yes, it already has their bearing when you click on it, but it's good to see what a target is doing over time. If you know what he is or has been doing, you sometimes can really guess what he's going to do or where he will be. Alright, we have... It's confirmed we have radar warning receivers on our choppers. They are lighting up like Christmas trees. I'm going to pull the choppers back. Alvand has probably locked them with her Sea-Cat missiles. Alright, one of our choppers has managed to turn cold to that radar lock. The other one is not. But our harpoons are almost at their target location. I'm going to mark this contact here. Traveling at 115 knots at 1,000 feet. Oh dear, can you stop this nasty little weapon that's coming for your blood? Fired the Sea-Cats. The Sea-Cats have missed. And that was your one and only chance. Massive hit. Massive hit amidships. Rear magazine exploding. The second harpoon hitting where the Sea Killers were mounted. No doubt making those things explode. And we are safe. Those Sea-Cats are heading to Mars. Harpoon hit that other contact. The minimap says it was a combatante. Second harpoon has reached the location, but the target was already destroyed. So yeah, I took their actions as hostile intent. They're sailing towards us with their radars on, their weapons radars on. We didn't have ours on until we detected those F5 scrambling. The F5 has turned away. Turned on the air search radar on the Belknap. We're going to get those SM2s after that F5. She is cold to us, but they might make it there. You never know. The SM2ER has pretty substantial range. Much higher than something like the RIM 7. The RIM 7 is vastly inferior range-wise. Alright, the first of our SAMs are out. They have quite the mission to try and hunt down that F5. We also have a chopper inbound. 115 knots at 1,000 feet. It's safe to say that would be a chopper. Or a Cessna. Yeah, he's basically walking. Sending our choppers back out. I feel safe now that F5 has turned away. Yeah, he's diving. I think those missiles will lose him unless our radar can keep a track on that F5. Yep, connection lost. So we've lost the signal. He's dived down behind that island. Now those SM2s are now rogue. They're heading to the last known location. But the F5 is no longer there. Now FYI, I have a setting on that lets me see units that aren't identified, but that's simply just so that I can illustrate the game to you guys. I would like you to see what's going on. It's hard to make videos when you can't see anything. The night missions have proved to be annoying in that respect. Especially if it's raining. YouTube compression does not like animated rain. It never has. And if you throw darkness into the mix, it can be very hard to have a video look good. Turning up the brightness doesn't help sometimes. The SM2s are still on their merry way. Designated that suspected chopper to be hostile. Anything that's heading from the north, from that airbase, it's not friendly. Anything that's flying at 30,000 feet, possibly maybe civilian, so don't just throw missiles at things flying at cruise altitude. And I didn't designate this suspected chopper hostile. There is another boat there. And I think it's a combattante. I'm going to switch sides here. I would like Spruance to be a little bit closer to the threat. Perrys are good, but I would much prefer the Spruance. Going terminal. Ooh, that third last shot there was almost close enough to take the missile out, but the Harpoon is slammed into the bridge and obliterated everyone standing there. Unfortunately, the game doesn't illustrate that, but we know that's what happened. They were knocked unconscious. They respawned back at home. A lot of trouble for this boat here with the bridge on fire and the main turret knocked out. Yep. Stern of the ship has now caught fire. That's where all of the ammunition is. All those unused harpoons sitting there. So that's how we know that they didn't detect us. And here's the Boghammers. We have Boghammers coming in at 18 knots. They are capable of much faster speed. And they have a form of Grad rocket launcher on them. So don't let just the fact that it's got a 50 on the front, you know, don't underestimate them. If they get close and there's 4 or 5 of them and they open up with their MLRS, they don't have to be accurate. I've got to creep the choppers over here to the west a little bit more, drop another sonobuoy. Yeah. Well, I was just about to say he looks like he's going down, but it is now confirmed as a secondary magazine explosion takes out the rear end of the ship and deletes the remaining section of the bridge. Alright, air search radar on. Now the Boghammers are at a huge disadvantage if they do not have someone watching their back. And that is because they have nothing but navigation radar. Civilian navigation radar. And that's not going to tell you anything else but except, you know, there's an island ahead. Gets on the fritz during the rain. Kind of feel sorry for these guys now. We've got 3 harpoons out on the Boghammers. The reason I didn't fire 4 is because the 4th one would probably hit the lead targets. We have contestant number 1. What prize are they going to win? That was a little bit too graphic to show you. Their prize was a little bit not safe for work. They received the same prize. You can only imagine how terrifying that would be. To see your compatriots explode either side you. And know that it could be you at any moment. Here comes their moment. They didn't take any evasive action. They know nothing. The guy there on the forecastle just got annihilated. We have one more contact left. Boghammer. He's got about a minute to turn around and go home. Holding fire after that one. We don't want to waste too many hundreds of thousands of dollars on these little boats. While we wait for him to perish, let's have a look and start plotting our course through this contested zone. have a look into the land masses here. We have a couple of islands which would make great defensive positions if you're trying to stop people from going through this strait. Let's see how far it is between these 2 points here, this island and the closest landmass to the south. Let's see what kind of range we've got to deal with here. Oh geez, it's only 23 nautical miles. Barely 30. They could spit on us and hit us. I'm not too sure what anti-ship missile, land-based anti-ship missiles Iran had. I know they had the Silkworm, but did they have anything else? That is the concern. If they have anything else besides the Silkworm, they can hit us where they are now. Pretty sure. You know, that's 26 nautical miles from that island. If something's set up there, it could easily hit us. This one is 40 nautical miles away from the nearest landmass. So we could probably squeeze through there, and if something's on that island, it may not be able to hit us. So we're definitely going to cut close to the southern shore to try and stay away from effective range of any defensive weapons on those islands. But we don't have much space to work with, so if it all goes wrong, we've got nowhere to really maneuver, especially with the super tankers. What have we got here? The airbase. Bandar Abbas Air Base. That's where those F5s came from. We can't bombard them. Damn. If you thought I forgot about the Harpoon, then you were wrong. That's the last of the Boghammers down. Sad that I didn't get to see them at their full potential. But perhaps we will take control of a squadron of Boghammers and try and cause some mischief in another video. I'm sure I could do better. As long as I have something to provide radar for them. Some kind of AWACS. We have a SAM out on this, looks like a flight of 2 F5s. Coming in very hot. Very, very hot. We've got something coming in hotter. SM-2 ERs. They're a little bit dangerously close to where my choppers are at, so we're going to pull the choppers back. Alright, they're on their final descent. These guys are oblivious. They are going to get clapped. Cheeks will be clapped. Red raw. Oh, you're making it so easy. Evade, evade, evade. Can you not detect the lock? I'm going to break through that cloud bank and smash them. Well, they're dropping countermeasures now. A little too late. We already plotted your vector like an hour ago. You made no attempt to move. I think I would be absolutely crazy to take the tankers through there without scouting everything first. Look how good it looks. Oh, so good. Looks so good. Like, this game has been my new screensaver. Just leave it in the encyclopedia with ships roaming around. It's great. We've got another assumed to be hostile chopper on its way. Breaking every convention here, just firing indiscriminately. We know that the only people that want to fight us are Iran. A little bit out of range for a low altitude shot. We just have to wait a moment for them to enter the envelope, and then we will clap them as well. But then we have to really start thinking about planning a proper route through that strait. We've just turned on the air search radar now, just to get some extra range there on the missile. Did that work? Who knows? I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little dot on the horizon. There you go, he's just turned into a bright fireball. That was our chopper. But will we go north of these islands and risk coming into range of any anti-ship missiles? I think not. Let's break away this. We're going to break away the super tankers. I'm going to set up two formations. I'm going to send Spruance and the Belknap up first to clear the surface, and then we're going to put an anti-air umbrella up. Belknap is actually really good anti-air cruiser when you're only facing one or two fighters at a time. She has huge range on the SM2ERs. Going to approach this island, try and get visual on it, see if there's any defensive emplacements. We've only made assumptions. We can see the airbase. No doubt they will see us on their air search radar if they have one. I would assume that that airbase has an air search radar. I really wish I could bombard them. Blind fire some harpoons at their airstrip. Waypoint them into the hangar. It's just a matter of waiting. We also don't want to get too close in case we just get annihilated by anti-air. But we're a good 16 kilometers away. Fresh contacts. Just taken off from the airbase. Designate them hostile. Probably F5s again. That's all they've really shown to have. I'm not sure how the other versions of this mission played out. They're not offering much resistance. We have possible SAM sites, visual on a SAM site possibly on this island. So we need to keep our distance now. There were 3 different flavors of SAM there, I saw. Let's swap radar pickets. This heli will ascend, the other will descend. I do wonder if you will be able to use chaff clouds from helicopters to sort of throw up false signatures. I know the Israelis did that during the Yom Kippur War. Go weapons free on the Perry. The Perry is looking after our supertankers. Designated guard duty. While the Spruance and the Belknap move up. The Wainwright is our flagship. The Paul Foster is our Spruance. Alright, we have visuals of and confirmed hostile defensive emplacements on the island. I will have a look at those in a second. Just going to prioritize the F5. We have 33 of these missiles left. Half stock of harpoons. We have a second contact. Looks like another flight of 2. I'm going to assume the other one is an F5. You'll soon learn that I work on assumption a lot. Got anti-ship missile sites, so not SAMs. But there was another little spot there that I marked, so it could be the SAM site next to it. We have the Styx, which has 21.6 nautical mile range, which is really good for us. I've just realized that those F5s are very dangerously close to my chopper, who is also very dangerously close to the island. Splash 1 fighter, and we have Sam out on the second. But is that fighter heading towards our chopper? I'll never know. Ooh, we have a slightly different radar reading from that target. Where'd it go? It's gone, whatever it was. I'm just setting here the range for the Styx. So that as long as we stay outside this ring, I've given myself half a nautical mile leeway. We should have no issues with the Styx. But we are hemmed right up against that southern shoreline. Which means if something goes wrong, our tankers have nowhere to turn. They'll be run ashore. So we need to make sure we have enough of a screen up in case they charge us with boghammers or God knows what. The last thing we want is to have to turn the formation into the range of the anti-ship missiles. And much prefer to beach them. It looks like they might be marshalling up some air attack. Or I'm just detecting more now that we get closer. We have another chopper inbound. We lost our chopper. Oh, I forgot about him. And I think my SAM may have got the other guy that we fired at, but he must have shot down my chopper. Bugger. We've had some casualties. I think that was the casualty count of the real Operation Praying Mantis. I think the US lost a chopper during that. I think that's going to space, that one. I'm not sure what he's doing. Yeah, he's going to land on the Mars. This one's not going to Mars. Chopper just dumped countermeasures, but it's too late. Splat. And so I am keeping my air search radar on all the time now because I don't want any of their forces close to me to identify me or track me. Now that we have superiority on the surface, we've basically won. We just have to be super cautious and hope that the game doesn't throw anything crazy at us. Man, these F5 pilots are just dropping like flies. You're a hostile too. Shoot him down. It's almost too easy with the Belknap. Now I could sit here all day shooting down aircraft, but let's start our transit through the strait. I have my tankers ready for orders. They're back underway. And we're going to set up a bit of a plot here. A very formal plot. So we know exactly, we can visualize exactly where the ships are going to go, where they should be, what time they should be there, the whole lot. The Wainwright has a perfect place here to just pick off any escort that takes off from the airfield. So we'll just keep her running at 1/3 ahead while the transports catch up. Right, we've set up the first point for the Wainwright. That's going to be her guard station. Oh, we've got more airborne contacts. These guys are performing differently. Shoot at them anyway. They're turning towards us. Missiles out all across. Enemy aircraft are turning away from our missile launch. I have to be super careful here that they don't launch Exocet at us. I think they've got a fairly generous range, depending on what variant it is. Looks like it was a miss there with that first missile. It didn't know where it needed to be. Yeah, we've got quite a few contacts over here. We want to take care of these guys. We don't want them to build up too much of an attack, because then they can just cut right through us. But I also don't want to dump all of my ammo on 3 aircraft. So stagger the launches. If one misses, there'll be a follow-up missile. Pull back the helis. They've done their job. We're not going to bother pushing north. We don't need to scout the rest of the islands. We've scouted the most threatening position to us. Anything further north of that is just even more danger. So I will mark those in case we lose visual on them. There were 3 positions on the island. I couldn't get an ID on the 3rd position. It's just a contact there. Pops up from time to time. Let's have a look. Will our SAMs have success on the 2nd volley? Got an F5 trying to wiggle his way around the left side of our formation. Heading towards one of our choppers. See the countermeasures? Missiles turning at the last moment. Did it go for the countermeasures? It looks like it did. Oh, man. Wait. I see a jet stream. Haha. He's found a new target. And that was an F4. That was an F4. Right. So that means they can bomb the shit out of us. Ceasefire. Second missile's going for the F5 that's sort of stalking near our chopper formation. Look, what have we got here? Okay, a helicopter, it says. It thinks. But, yeah, there's a heli moving towards us. I do wonder, will they keep throwing aircraft at us, or do they have a limited stock? I might run out of missiles first. This guy's just cruising back to base, and here comes my SM-2ER. Oh, imagine getting clapped on final approach. Shit. No time to eject. Right, Spruance is moving up into her designated position, but actually I need to reset it. So the top point will be our Belknap. Southern point will be the Spruance. And the formation will pass through the center. So we have a 2.5 nautical mile gap on either side of the ships. It's not much space if you wanted to really protect or put up a screen. But I'm going along the lines of point defense here because we don't have enough room to maneuver and really space out our air defense. So we'll keep the ships nice and close, and hopefully if they send anti-ship missiles, it will target one of our warships, which can spoof it or destroy it. And it is hope to God it doesn't go for the biggest target, which are of course these super tankers, which fill the horizon in comparison to some boats. But it does feel like the tempo is going down. We've got no more surface contacts, so we're not too concerned. We'll run a sweep every now and then. Wainwright is running up into her guard station. We've got the air search radar off for a moment. Try and hide our signature as we get closer to those anti-ship missile launch sites. I don't know if it's wise crossing into that airspace, so we won't. Alright, let's now do the real maths homework. So, similar to our first waypoint, we're going to set up 3 dots. Each of those dots will represent a course for each of the stations at waypoint 1. So the Belknap will hit all of those top crosses. The convoy ships will hit the middle crosses. And I think Gallery will run closest to the southern shore, and then we will bring up the Spruance as a rear guard for the formation. So I want to have both my destroyer and my Belknap stationary as the formation of supertankers sails through. Then as the final ship in the formation sails through, one ship will sail in behind, close the box, and protect the rear of the formation as we head south. Hope I explained that alright. I should be able to visualize it for you. So we're going to stop up on station. We have a chopper inbound which could detect us. We are outside the launch range of the anti-ship missiles, according to the stat card. And SAM out on our chopper. Chopper is down. Throwing away a lot of Emmon's lives today. Alright, Foster is pulling up on her guard station. Gallery is still hanging out with our supertankers as they marshal up to head through the first waypoint. Choppers are on their way back to their ships. Make sure the order's set properly. We have no need for the choppers to be airborne anymore. They've done a pretty good mission. They've been out for a few hours. We are starting to get a bit low in terms of SM2s, so hopefully no more aircraft, or not many of them anyway. The map is looking very cluttered, but I know what's going on. SAM out on that new chopper that's just taken off from the airfield. That's got to suck, mate. Alright, Gallery running a full course. She's going to meet the convoy at waypoint 2. And all of our tankers are now lined up to transit to waypoint 1. Gallery will hold the shore guard, and we will use the spruance to pull up rear guard. I may have already said that. Speeding up time, chopper shot down again. Our chopper's returning home. Sadly, we did lose one crew. Probably be put down to a training accident, because this is not a military operation. It's just a freedom of passage. Second chopper home on the Perry. And look at our tankers ready to transit. Like, I don't have the best PC, but the game looks great. Right, back to the work at hand. Let's plot it up so that you guys can see what madness I'm coming up with. Gallery's heading to waypoint 2, where she will hold station. And we will slow her down a bit so she's there when the first ship arrives. What will we do with Foster? How will we close this box? Okay, so what I've done is timed it so that when the third ship hits waypoint 2, Foster will then move into section behind and follow up the rear of the formation. Wainwright will stay in the northern guard position, very close, like not giving our tankers much room to move. But like I said, I'm just using them as point defense ships, simply because look at, there's not much space between that range of that Styx and that shoreline. But we are going to make it. We're going to be true navigators. We're going to plot the shore. We know the depth of we know the depth here. And through most of this, Gallery's going to be using her sonar to keep an eye on how deep the water is. Alright, so we've just plotted through the supercarrier's course. They're, as I said before, through the center of the formation. Now just plotting up the Perry's course, Gallery. And I think this is going to work beautifully. Alright, clock is ticking. Just need to tidy it up a little bit, but for all intents and purposes, our plotting is done. Now we just need to make sure that our enemy don't thwart those plans. I've tried to adjust the tactical display so that we can see the game and a bit more of my chart. Got another heli coming in, but we'll deal with him fairly easily. Doing short sweeps with the air search radar just to pick up on any contacts that may have taken off. We want to try and stay as quiet as possible. I don't want to give anything for those missiles to shoot at. Resuming course once that target is destroyed. The first of our ships in the convoy has transited through waypoint 1. I will tidy up their course a bit. They do need to head through. We set up a second waypoint closer to waypoint 1, just to keep them enough distance between the shoreline. I'll move this one up here to keep... Oh no, making a mess already. Still getting used to the UI. It's not quite how I want it to be, but we work with what we've got. Okay. So, first ship will arrive at waypoint 3 at 4:30 or 4:27. Gallery will arrive there at 4:20, a few minutes before. Spruance has had her course plotted to waypoint 3, and depending on the speed that I send her there, she should slot in just behind Katori-san Maru, the final ship in our convoy. So this should, like, theoretically I should be able to just turn it up to max speed and let them sail their course now. But I won't do that. That would be crazy. I might speed it up for you though. I'm happy with that, looking good. Like I said, we don't have enough space to maneuver if shit goes wrong, but I feel like we're going to offer enough coverage to our ships should anything go wrong. So Foster will dogleg behind that convoy. Looking good. Looking good. Alright, let's get the show on the road. Hello, it's me from the future. After the mission is completed, I decided to speed it up because I did spend quite a deal of time just watching my ships sail their course. There were some issues. I needed to replot and change speeds a few times, but I feel like this is a good indication of how to manage a fleet if you don't want to use the formation manager and you want to be able to make units react to your orders instantly. We've got the Spruance just pulling up the rear of our formation now on our dogleg, slotting in behind the third supertanker. She's running a little bit fast, so I will slow her down. But that's exactly what I wanted. Gallery should speed up because she needs to take a sharp corner up ahead. And she needs to be giving the lead ship some cover. If we had more open water, I would certainly use more space. And I probably would put Foster a little bit further out, wider of the formation. But we don't have the space. And we are also trying to be mindful of not creating an ecological disaster by crashing our supertankers up on the southern shore. Now this is one of the campaigns, or one of the missions that's included in the game. And I've started working on a proper Operation Praying Mantis with a little bit of changes for entertainment purposes. But I think this game really does have a future. As long as we give it the love it deserves and the devs stick to their word, I think we have a few years of fun times ahead for us. I'll leave you guys with the rest of the footage as my convoy make it towards safety. If you've enjoyed the video, make sure to hit likes up, subscribe, do all the things that would help me bring this content to you on a regular basis. Until then, Ty out.